G'day guys, Zukumani here, and welcome to Mod Spotlight episode number 3. This is a bi-weekly show that is dedicated and showcasing the latest and greatest mods from the Project Zomboid community. And all of these mods are available from the Indie Stone mod forums. Firstly, before I start this episode, I'd like to congratulate What the Tech for winning the competition on my last episode. He has won himself a copy of Project Zomboid, and I'm hoping that he is enjoying himself surviving this zombie apocalypse. And without further ado, let's begin this week's episode. The first mod this week is called Swap Equipped 1.0, and it was created by Arcane. Now, apparently he came across Vonvile making a couple of suggestions in another thread within the Indie Stone mod forums, and I guess he thought, hey, what the hell, I'll make the mod so that everyone else can sort of enjoy it. And I gotta say, this mod is a great little utility mod. Now, its principles are very, very small. All it does is, it makes it so that you can swap from your primary weapon to your secondary weapon, and all you have to do is just simply press tab on the keyboard. Now this alone can make swapping a weapon, going from a pistol to a shotgun, or going from a pistol to an axe, or whatever sort of combination that you can kind of think of, it makes it a lot simpler and a lot easier to do. I myself, have some troubles, especially when I just want to go out in the world and just kill a bunch of zombies, as many as I can. Swapping from a pistol to a shotgun, or even from my shotgun to an axe, it can be a bit daunting at times, but with this add-on, by simply pressing tab, you're able to swap between two and just continue on your zombie killing adventure. Much like Arcane's Pillow Silencer mod, it's great to see him still being active within the modding community and creating little mods like this that make our lives a hell of a lot easier. If you would like to support Arcane or download his mod, please click down in the links in the comments below. Up next is Sleep in Bathtubs by RoboMats. RoboMat actually suggested this mod a while ago, but as he's now found out how to do the mod himself, thanks to Robert Johnson, he's decided to make the mod and to share it with the community. So what this mod does is, it allows the ability to be able to sleep within bathtubs and also on top of toilets. So this basically means that any sort of bathroom that you come across could now be safe sleeping quarters for yourself during nighttime. Now, Robot Matt wishes to add additional features to the mod within the future. One of the major things he wants to add is to add unhappiness while sleeping in bathtubs, and the only way to avoid the unhappiness debuff is to have a pillow and sheet within your inventory. All we need now is to have companion dogs within the game, and then we too can reenact the scenes from I Am Legend of sleeping in a bathtub to avoid the zombie apocalypse. If you would like to support RoboMat or to download his mod, please click down in the links in the comments below. Coming up next, we're featuring a second RoboMat PZ mod, and this one is called Lockpicking. Now this mod gives players multiple different ways now of being able to access buildings within the game. So not only can we break through windows, we can smash windows, jump through, we can break down doors, or even get lucky enough to have a door that's already unlocked. Now we're also able to sort of pick a lock if we have the right equipment on, or smash a lock to be able to gain access to the house and yet still have the door intact. Now, if you're like myself, I personally don't like going around with an axe and just chopping down every door I see. I generally use the option of having the strong trait and then also just jimmying open every window I can sort of find. With this new add-on though, you're able to sort of either lockpick a door or you're able to break into a house by using a crowbar. Now, the easiest way to open a locked door is to simply break the lock with the help of a crowbar, of course. All you need to do is just make sure you have a crowbar equipped as a primary item. Once that is done, you should have an option if you right click a door to break the lock, and then your character, depending on what kind of traits you have, will have a percentage chance of being able to break the lock, opening the door without creating too much noise. Now, there is a percentage to fail while trying to break open the lock. If you do fail in breaking the lock, it will cause a loud noise which may attract zombies both inside the house or outside, depending on how close they are nearby. But when the lock breaking succeeds, the door will automatically open, which will also make a sound, but it won't be as loud as when you fail to break a lock. One thing I will say is that the crowbar does take durability loss whether you fail to open up the door or whether you succeed. The durability loss on the item is actually quite high. I believe during my testing I broke through 5 doors in total. I failed about 3 to 5 times as well, and then all of a sudden my crowbar was broken. But still, having this as a way of entering a building without breaking the door down entirely is a great thing. The other feature feature that Robomat's mod has is the ability to be able to lockpick a door. Now, the items that you'll need within your inventory are as follows. You'll need a screwdriver, which is equipped in your primary slots, and you'll also need to find a bobby pin, which will be equipped in your secondary slots. Now, bobby pins are scattered throughout the world. I believe the first one I found was within a garbage can, but then I was able to find one within houses as well. For all the locks that I did pick, I noticed that the bobby pin was not used during the lockpicking, whether it failed or whether it was completed, meaning that I don't believe that there is a durability loss on the bobby pin itself, which I feel may be a missed opportunity, considering that failing to lockpick a door, in my mind, might warrant having a durability loss within the bobby pin itself. Now, I'm not sure if Robomat is sort of planning that within the future, or whether it is a feature within the game at the moment, but I just didn't discover it. But I lockpicked, I believe it was 5 to 6 doors, whether I failed or succeeded, and there was no visible durability loss on the item itself. Another nice little nifty feature is that there's different types of difficulties depending on what kind of lock it is. So some houses only have an easy lock, whereas as an example, I went up to the shopping center and noticed that some of the doors were either medium, some of them were easy, but a lot of them were also hard difficulty. Again, I'm not sure if this is just random or if it's just randomly generated throughout the world itself, or whether it's just commercial buildings that have a higher rate of having a medium to high difficulty compared to residential areas. But I can see already that this mod adds quite a lot of depth into what a player can do to be able to access buildings. Now, as mentioned before, you can fail while lockpicking, and if you fail while lockpicking, the lock itself will be broken from that point out, meaning that you cannot pick that lock again. But, alternatively, you can equip your crowbar after that and decide to break the lock entirely and still gain access to the building without having to break a window or go through any other means of entering it. Now, there are a couple minor bugs within the mod at the moment, one being that the bobby pins have no item icons, and the second one being that there's some small sound issues. Now, this mod itself has 2 additional sound files that sort of come with it. One of the sounds is of you trying to pick the lock, and the other sound is of you successfully picking a lock. Robomat has some planned features that he will be adding within the next patch that lands, one being the ability to open windows, much like how we're able to lockpick doors with this mod. We'll be able to also lockpick and jimmy open windows via the same principle, and also to be able to map actions to the E key, meaning that we won't have to right click the door to open it, we can just go up to it, and as long as we have the items on us, equipped, ready to go, by pressing E, it'll go through the functions of actually breaking the lock or unlocking the house entirely. Another feature is that he would like to add in the future is maybe adding some penalties for lockpicking itself as well. I personally would like to see like an XP gain, sort of like a what we see with blunt force weapons, reloading, aiming, things like that. I would love to see one that's sort of lockpicking, so that for every time we successfully pick a lock, we gain XP so that we're able to rank up from rank 1 to 5 in lockpicking, which for every rank would lower the chance of lockpicking failing. I would love to see that sort of feature implemented within the game, but at the moment, with the way the mod is right now, I'm very happy with it, and I would highly suggest that everyone downloads this and adds it to their mods collection. If you would like to support Robomat or to download his mod, please click down in the links in the comments below. Up next is Play With It mod by Kinyoshi. This mod is quite small, but what it does is it adds functionality to items which previously were unusable. Now, the items in questions are a mirror, comb, yo-yo, playing cards, the locket, lipstick, a toy bear. All of these items are now usable, and they're actually used as boredom reducers. Now, each of them have a different value depending on what they are. You can also eat raw coffee from the can, which will reduce boredom, but also add thirst and unhappiness to your character. One of the other little things is that you're able to now interact with a bottle of bleach. You can either open it or close the bottle, but once you open the bottle, you do have the option of drinking bleach. Now, I do not recommend that you actually do this, because it does have some harmful modifiers within the actual item itself, and let's be honest, no one wants to go around drinking bleach, but hey, the option is there if you ever feel the need to. This is a nice little mod by Kinyoshi, and it's good to see him sort of giving functionality to previously unusable items, and for me personally, that is what I like to see within Project Zomboid. To support Kinyoshi or to download his mod, please click down in the links in the comments below. Up next is another mod by Kinyoshi, and this one is called Food Pickling Mod. Now this mod is huge. Looking at it and being in the game world and sort of checking out all the cupboards, the amount of items that Kinyoshi has added to the game is immense. You need a spreadsheet almost to have the full list of crafting items that you can do and what you can sort of use it for. The good thing for us is by downloading Peanuts mod Craft Helper, we're able to sort of see what the items are used for and how many items that we need to be able to produce different kinds of brine. Now, some of the items that this mod adds is that it adds spices to the game, it adds some vinegars, malt vinegar, all these other things like that. Basically, the kind of cooking supplies that you would see within the MasterChef competition. Now, to list these off, he has also included a lightweight spice bag that spawns within the world. Now, there are many new items that you can loot within the game, including spices, foods, and jars. The spices are very lightweight and don't take up too much space in your inventory, which you are definitely going to need because there are so many different spices that you will be able to sort of create. Now, the recipes are based off real-life pickling recipes, and you can also pickle almost every food item, even some new items that he's added himself within the game. So what happens is, you pickle an item. Let's say, as an example, I believe I pickled some fruits. Once you pick up the items that you require, you can make a basic brine, or candied brine, or any sort of brine that you sort of have the materials for. After that, you will be able to add that to like a pot of water, which then you'll be able to add different items to it, whether it be fruit, whether it be vegetables, whether it be meats, anything like that. You'll be able to add in there to pickle them. Now, once they're pickled, you'll be able to add them again into mason jars, which you'll then be able to carry around with you. Now, these mason jars come in different sizes, either large or small. I worked with the small one, and what basically happens is, once you create an item that is pickled within that jar, you are able to pull out 10 individual food items from this one jar, meaning that the amount of pickled food that you can carry completely outweighs standard food that you would have within your inventory. As an example is, the weight of a pickle jar was, I believe, 0.4, at least for the small one, and that holds 10 pieces of food items within it. Now, if you compare that to holding 10 food items on you at all times, the inventory space is huge in comparison. You're able to store way more food if you pickle down the items and then just pull them out individually one by one when you're hungry to eat them, compared to having a bag that's just full of food, which will weigh down your inventory and eventually make you over encumbered. Now, some of the things that Kinyoshi has mentioned is that he knows that the brines should be cookable, but he couldn't carry the cooking tag over to require it, so now the brine isn't needed to be cooked. He has also mentioned that most of the pickled foods have the same nutritional values, but this is a planned change that he will be implementing within a later date. Now, he is aware that some of the items may need to be tweaked, and he is sort of reaching out to the modding community to test it out for him and to give him feedback as much as they can. Now, I myself noticed that I went into 3 different houses, into their kitchens, and the amount of spices and food and wines and malt vinegar that they had within their cupboards was huge. And because when I first started, I wasn't sort of sure what items I sort of needed to be able to start out making a brine, but as I mentioned earlier at the beginning of this, having the Craft Helper mod is a great advantage and is sort of a must for you if you want to delve into sort of the vast crafting capabilities that you can sort of do within this mod. Now, Kinyoshi and I spoke a little bit before I started making this. He went over some of the little details of how he sort of came about doing this mod. I will say that he has enjoyed creating this mod and that he has invested over 150 hours in creating this mod alone. That there alone just goes to show that Kinyoshi is really putting a lot of effort into building this. Now, some of the things that Kinyoshi is planning within the future is that he wants to add more pickled items, more food spawnables, and also better spawn amounts of mod items. He would also like to make all pickled items' food values reflect the brine that they were used for, as well as adding different textures so that you can tell them apart within your inventory, fixing some of the vinegars which don't quite work right now, and also adding stuff for the extra brines that he put in but he isn't quite using yet. Some of the last things that he would like to do in the future is to expand the spices, and he would also like to support the food items in future little expansions that he will create for this mod. Other little things that he wants to add within his food expansions is also adding his own tutorial and template within the actual mod. I really look forward to seeing this mod expand and explode in the future into way different other things. At the moment, this mod adds so much depth into the Project Zomboid food crafting. One of the other things Kinyoshi has mentioned is that some of the items that you can use for pickling, you can also use to eat to reduce boredom, such as hot peppers. There's also ground black pepper and also fish sauce. Now, I personally have had fish sauce straight from the bottle before as a dare when I was younger. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever had in my entire life, and I can sort of see how that will reduce boredom within the game. This mod is immense in the amount of different quality items that you can craft within the game. I can definitely see using mason jars filled with pickled items to be a more efficient way of carrying food with you rather than carrying bagfuls of food. If you would like to support Kinyoshi or to download his mod, please click down in the links in the comments below. And finally, the last mod of this episode is called Crafting Nails by Shivster. Now, this is Shivster's modding debut, and it's great to see new modders come into the community and sort of put their thoughts forward and create these great little mods that we can all enjoy. Now, Shivster gives a big thanks to Robert Johnson and also Robot Matt for helping him out with creating this mod. Now, what this mod covers is, it gives you the ability to be able to craft nails from almost everything that's metal within the game. Now, he has changed a couple of things with how it used to happen when the mod first came out. The way it works now is that he now has the ingots in world. Now you're able to create ingots from items, and some items give more ingots than others. He has also added items to melt as well, and ingots also drop from crates and are also located within sheds within the game. Now, the way this works is there's a few different things you need to craft to sort of get started. The first thing you need to create is a mold to encase the nails in. So to create that, you need a log of wood, which you can get by just chopping down a tree, and then you also need some nails and a hammer and a screwdriver. By having those items within your inventory, you will be able to create a log mold. Once you have the log mold, you need to be able to sort of get ingots within the game. Now, there are several different ways of getting it. As mentioned before, you can either find them within crates or within sheds, or you can melt down items that you already have within your inventory to be able to craft ingots. Now, to melt down items within your inventory, what you need to do is that you need to make a campfire kit. Now, to make a campfire kit, it does require 3 planks of wood and also an accelerant, such as like a rip sheets, books, magazines, or newspapers. Anything like that will do. Once you make a campfire kit, you are then able to take an item. As an example, if you take a crowbar, you're able to melt down a crowbar by using a campfire kit on the crowbar, which will then create ingots. I believe I got 2 ingots when I melted down my crowbar, and also some items have greater values than others. You're able to melt everything down from kettles to cooking pots to roasting pans to axes to shotguns to pistols, basically anything that is metal within the game already. Now, once you have all the materials, i.e. once you have a log mold, once you have an ingot, and once you also have a campfire kit, you will be able to craft nails. Now, for every ingot that you use, you will be able to craft 20 nails. Also, I would like to note that you will need a campfire kit for every time that you try to create one of these. For every ingot that you melt down to create nails, you will need a campfire kit, and also for every item that you melt down for ingots, you'll also need a campfire kit. This is a nice little way of getting nails within the game in a fairly quickly manner. Shivster just wants the mod there just to sort of be an additional way of collecting nails. And as Shivster has mentioned within the Indie Stone forums, nails, though they're a mundane item, when used correctly, they can save your life like a gun can. And I completely agree with what Shivster said there. Nails are very, very useful within the game. Once you start to build items that can defend you against zombies, nails are a very crucial part of the game. To support Shivster or to download his mod, please click down in the links in the comments below. And there we have it. Another Mod Spotlights episode is complete. I would like to thank you all for giving me such great support for this series, and also to the modding community themselves who have reached out to me, giving me their thoughts on my show, and also giving me some insights into how the modding community works. You guys are a great bunch of people. I see you every single week helping and supporting each other with your mods that you're creating, giving advice, helping with coding and everything like that. So it's an amazing thing to see that the Indie Stone mod forum forum have created this community of people that are willing to go above and beyond to help each other out. I look forward to seeing more amazing mods from you guys in the future. But in the meantime though, my name is Zukumani, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.